You have the life that's supposed to feel secure, the stability, the success. You have the external metrics of a life well lived. By every objective standard, you did everything right. And yet, there is a specific quiet terror that visits you the moment you sit across from a man you actually like. Something shifts. You're no longer the composed, decisive woman who runs her world. You become careful, measured, almost like you're trying to manage how much of yourself he sees before he realizes something you're already afraid of. That behind everything you've built, you feel fundamentally disqualified from the kind of love you actually want. And the worst part? He hasn't even done anything yet. This isn't about him. This is about something deeper. You're navigating a common, sophisticated internal conflict that high-achieving women live with every day. The worthiness gap. And once you see it, you'll understand why your achievements have never been a valid currency for the devotion you actually crave. To understand this, we need to perform a System Origin Audit. Because you didn't just become high-achieving by accident. You adapted. At some point, you learned a very specific survival rule. That being valuable made you safe. Maybe you were the stabilizer in a chaotic environment. The high performer who brought pride to a family that lacked it. Or the strong one who never needed anything. Without realizing it, you signed a subconscious contract. If I perform well enough, I will be secure. Not loved, not chosen, secure. So you optimized yourself. You became efficient, reliable, and impressive. And it worked. In your career, this made you exceptional. But in your emotional life, it created a conditional identity. A state where your presence alone doesn't feel like an asset. Where you don't just exist, you justify your existence. Your success isn't just ambition. It's a survival strategy that never got turned off. Now, fast forward to your dating life. On the surface, you're accomplished and high value. But internally, there's a second version of you that quietly asks, if I'm not achieving, what am I worth? That distance between how the world sees you and how you secretly experience yourself is the worthiness gap. This is why dating feels different for you. Because for the first time, your competence doesn't protect you. You can't outperform vulnerability. You can't optimize emotional exposure. That anxiety you feel on the first date, that's not butterflies. That's your nervous system sounding a high-level warning. You're being seen without your armor. So you try to close the gap the only way you know how. You achieve more. You improve. You become even better. But it never holds because you're pouring success into something that was never designed to contain it. It's a leaky bucket. Every win gives you a temporary high of feeling enough, but it fades, so you chase the next thing, and the next. Eventually, this spills into your relationships. You start to feel like your excellence isn't who you are. It's the bribe you pay in exchange for him staying. We call this Romantic Imposter Syndrome. The persistent fear that your success is the only thing keeping you from being discarded. You're not just driven, you're terrified of what happens when you stop proving your worth. This creates a brutal contradiction. On one side, you feel too much, too strong, too independent, too intimidating. But at the exact same moment, you feel not enough, not soft enough, not natural enough, not inherently lovable enough. So you live in the in-between. You perform a diluted version of yourself on dates, shape-shifting to fit what you think a man wants. You filter your thoughts. you adopt a performative softness, while internally you're screaming because your authentic self is being suffocated. You aren't being chosen, you're being accepted, and those are not the same thing. To avoid facing this gap directly, you subconsciously seek out identity shields. Sometimes this looks like attracting under-functioning partners you can manage, fix, or guide, because if he needs you, you never have to risk needing him. Other times, it looks like avoiding the man you actually want, the one who is emotionally stable, successful, and fully available. You label him as boring or intimidating because he removes your advantage. He doesn't need your performance, and when your performance has no value, you're left with the only question you're afraid to answer. Is just me enough? How do we bridge the gap? Not by becoming less, not by shrinking, not by pretending to be someone easier to love, but by realizing that your success was never the source of your worth. You didn't become valuable because you achieved. You are valuable regardless of your achievements. Success is a role you play. It isn't the price of your seat at the table of love. That is sovereign softness, the ability to exist without performing to justify your presence. The woman who built your life is not disqualified from love. She is the one who deserves it the most. If this feels like the first time someone has spoken your internal language, it's because you're finally seeing the pattern. And before you try to fix it, you need to understand the architecture of your specific gap. I've created a free Worthiness Gap audit. It will show you exactly how your gap formed and where it's costing you in your current relationships. You can find that in the description. For those who want the deep psychological theory, I highly recommend The Drama of the Gifted Child by Alice Miller. It explains the performing self better than anything else out there. And if you're at the point where you're tired of just understanding the pattern and you actually want to change it, this is where structured support matters. I recommend the tools at onlinetherapy.com because they use a cognitive behavioral framework, meaning you're not just talking, you're actually rewiring the patterns that created this gap in the first place. If you're serious about closing this gap, the link and the discount are below. There is an old literary concept called dismantling the angel in the house. It means ending the reign of the false performing version of yourself that lives to please the world's expectations. For you, it is about retiring the performing self, the one who believes her only value lies in being useful, competent, and flawless. The worthiness gap closes the moment you realize that your success isn't your entry fee for love. Your too muchness is simply a light that requires a partner with the emotional capacity to hold your brilliance. He doesn't need you to perform. He needs you to exist, fully, unfiltered, and without asking for permission.